That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, this is Movie Trailer Trash, and we just watched the trailer for Suburbicon, starring Matt Damon and directed by George Clooney, right?
Yes.
There you go.
You said that like you were going to say Matt Damon.
No. I was trying to make sure. I was looking at you with a questioning eye, like.
But more importantly,
right?
written by the Coen brothers.
Sure.
Okay. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Bethany.
I'm Charlie.
And if you're new to Movie Trailer Trash, welcome. We're going to tell you a little bit about what we think. And yeah. Here we go.
So this is the first time I've seen the trailer for this movie. I haven't seen it anywhere else. By the way,
I've seen it before.
I have a bit of a cold, and so if I start hacking into the microphone,
Then he
I
apologizes.
But anyway, this is the first time I had seen it,
Yes.
and it looks really awesome.
It looks awesome. I can't remember what I wanted to compare it to, but let's talk about it. So for those of you who haven't seen it, basically the gist of it, based on what I saw in the trailer, is that two men come into a house, they chloroform Matt Damon and kill his wife.
Now, it's important that you know that this takes place during the 50s.
Good point. And so, in suburbia, and it's like the perfect suburban neighborhood, right? Like
Right.
the mailman walks.
The neighborhood is called Suburbicon.
Yeah, and the mailman is like friendly and all that. So, then
It's very Fallout-y, like before all of the Fallout stuff happens, like the game.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just go with it. But yeah, so he tells his son what happened. Those men killed your mom, and your aunt's going to come live with us, and we're going to get through this. But then at some point, those men come back for the kid. They're trying to get to Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm.
And because the cop mentions that, like, some guy's in with the mob. He's like, if you owed money to the mob, that would maybe explain what happened with your wife. So the big question is, like, yeah, it looks like he definitely is somehow involved, but at the same time, so what happens is they come for his kid, and his kid's like under the bed kicking and screaming, and then his kid just hears a bunch of noise and sees like his dad's shoes. His dad just kills the guy. The next scene is, at least the next scene in the trailer, is his dad with a blood splattered shirt just eating a sandwich.
Well, yeah, so the mob or whoever starts sending a bunch of people after Matt Damon, and he just starts killing everybody in different ways.
They killed his wife, and he's not going to let it happen again. He says we have to protect our family.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And then the
interesting.
aunt is that they invite to come live
Julianne
with them
Moore.
is Julianne Moore, and I think that's Matt Damon's sister. I think that's what that is.
Oh, perhaps, yeah.
I don't think Julianne Moore is Matt Damon's sister.
Yeah, that you confused me for a second. Yeah, I think that. So she's supposed to be his sister. You think? I wasn't sure, but
and I think she's helping kill people also.
Well, that they made that pretty clear when she crushed up about 85 Tylenol to put in a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that was funny.
She was like using a rolling pin and was making it into powder. So like, I don't know. It's interesting. It looks insane. First of all, like a lot of just really crazy stuff happening. You know, he like goes after a guy in the middle of the street at night and just hits him with a crowbar and then drags him away.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of the street.
And it looks to have a bunch of your classic Coen Brothers style killing and like aloofness of people who don't, recognize that killing is happening around them.
So,
and there's going to be a lot of really good, funny dialogue between really good actors, like high-profile actors, who are also really good comedically.
Well, just for the audience out there and to refresh my memory, Coen Brothers, what else did they do?
Big Lebowski.
Okay.
My favorite one, Fargo.
Which
this will probably be most like Fargo.
Yeah.
Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Raising Arizona.
Oh Brother, this has like a very Oh Brother We're Out There thou feel about it too.
Yeah. All of their movies have a very similar feel, unless they're super, super serious, like No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, that's not the same. But yeah, I mean, they're great. Like, I love Fargo. I know some people don't like it. They can be really bad, it's great.
So, like, the Coen brothers, well, not bad, but they can be really a little too... What's the word I'm looking for? Like,
did they do Burn After Reading?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bad one.
They could be too...
I'm just going to say it. I know some people really love it, but I'm just going to say it's a bad movie.
So, like, one of the funny things about their style is that every once in a while, some crazy thing will happen, and then there will be no consequences at all, and it's just like people are like, oh, okay, and they walk away, and it could be really funny. But if they do it over and over again, it is dumb.
Oh my gosh, did they also do Hail Caesar?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my biggest problem with Hail Caesar and with Burn After Reading. I said it was a bad movie, but that's not really fair because there is definitely its moments. Like there is one moment in particular that's so good that I wouldn't even spoil it for you 20 years later. It's great.
I don't think that's that old.
Nope, but I'm just exaggerating for argument's sake.
I don't even think it's 10 years old.
I think it came out when I was in college. But regardless, there's like this moment that it's just like the opposite of what you think happens in a movie like this. You're just like, whoa. That doesn't ever happen in movies.
Yeah, and that's what they're
and
so
shocking
good at.
And surprising. So, I mean, it had its moments. It had some really funny things. Hail Caesar had some really funny things. But both of those movies, the ending, I don't mind an ending that's kind of open-ended and leaves a little to the imagination. But it's not even that. It's just like, it's like somebody's telling a story and then they stop and they forget and they walk away.
Well, and they're kind of famous for
in
that,
the middle
right?
of the story. But
and
it's so bad in those movies.
What I was going to say about this one is it's like a Coen Brothers movie, like a generic, well, not generic. It's like a stereotypical Coen Brothers movie where stuff is actually happening.
Well, yeah, but that does happen. So, okay, like think about Fargo. So Fargo's an example of where they end kind of in an aloof way, but it's still really good because the entire situation, the detective that's looking for the murderers, all of that gets resolved. The story is resolved. And then she goes home and she just chats about stamps with her husband.
Right.
And that's the end. But the story was resolved. It's not like somebody was like, yeah, so there was this murderer and then just walks away and never finishes their story. You're like, wait, what? That's how the other movies are. So I think they can do it really well. Like I kind of loved that about
and one of the
Fargo.
reasons that this one might be different from that is because it's directed by George Clooney and not
that's
directed by the Coen Brothers.
It has a real Ocean's 11 feel to it. Also,
well, George Clooney directed a lot of movies before this.
Yeah,
he directed Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I don't know if you remember that one. That's that one with Sam Rockwell.
I don't. Did I see it?
Yeah, we watched it. Good Night and Good Luck, which is a drama about Edward R. Murrow. No, okay. He did the Ides of March. Do you remember that one? He was in with Ryan Gosling with the goose.
The Ides of March.
Okay.
Why don't these sound familiar? That sounds familiar, but I can't picture it.
The Monuments Men.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I've heard of that one.
I've never seen, but I wanted to see it, even though everyone said it was bad.
It sounded like an interesting story to be told. But okay. Do you see how this has kind of that feel, though, like an Ocean's 11 feel? It's kind of like that. It's because it's got like lots of famous actors in it, and they're doing, bad things.
Probably because they use that awesome Run the Jewels song.
They're criminals, yeah. But also, it's kind of like the new show Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of like that, where it's like,
and it might be
your friendly
similar
neighbor,
in goofiness as well.
Your friendly neighbor just kills people sometimes.
Although he's going to lose
away with it.
Like a lot. Matt Damon is going to lose it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a lot more violent. So if you haven't seen Santa Clarita Diet, it's on Netflix and I recommend it. It has Drew Barrymore and another guy who's really great.
It's really good.
It's got a lot of good actors, but Drew Barrymore is the main one that I knew. But it's really good. Very funny.
Like if you were watching it,
that kind of humor, though. It's like dark humor.
If the first time you watch it, you're going to think, this is a little much for me. This is too silly.
Campy almost.
Yeah, campy.
But then keep
whatever.
it going because
keep
2-3 episodes in, you'll be hooked.
That guy is so funny.
The main guy and Drew Barrymore are so funny. But basically, Drew Barrymore's a vampire. Or not a vampire, sorry, a zombie. So something happens and she gets sick. They don't really know why. And so she starts eating neighbors. And so what happens is the family decides, like, we've got to take care of mom. She's going to die without food. So they try and find bad people to kill.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that feeling where, like, they kill somebody. It's this whole violent thing. And then, like, they go to the beach because they got to keep up appearances,
Yeah.
So I kind of think that'll happen a little bit in this. But obviously the town knows something's going on. So there's a lot of suspicion.
Well, the town eventually finds out, and I think they're all very upset with him because they know that he's killing people, and no one can prove it. I think.
You think
I think
that
that's
they
what's
know?
happening. because the Oscar Isaac, the detective
Yeah.
that was in there, is crooked cop, obviously, and he's just like, I could have you killed, whatever. in a
Wait.
second.
Oscar Isaac is Poe?
Yeah.
From Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay.
Star
I was
Wars.
thinking of somebody else. Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
And so he's in there, and I think that he's probably going to, run some sort of propaganda type thing in the city saying how bad that this guy is and how he's been murdering people and everything. And all of that will come to a head at some point. That's my guess. Mostly because Oscar Isaac is too big of a name to not have him be a big part of this movie.
Really?
Although the Coen brothers do that, where they get really famous people.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
So actually,
Burn After Reading.
part of this movie,
You'd be shocked.
Josh Brolin was supposed to be in this movie, and he ended up getting cut out of the final cut of the movie,
Aw.
like his part of it. And I read it, and it was just a few scenes where he played some like Little League baseball coach or something. But George Clooney was saying that, like, after he watched it again, first of all, they were the two funniest scenes in the movie. Like
They cut the funniest scenes of the movie?
He was like, it was by far the funniest scene of the movie, but it really, like, as I was watching the whole thing, it really just like ruins all of the tension that's built up beforehand. And so they had to get rid of it because it didn't work.
Always show the funniest scene of the movie.
And also
George.
Woody Harrelson was supposed to be in this as well.
Oh, interesting.
But he had scheduling conflicts. Probably that Star Wars prequel that'll be bad.
Or maybe War for Planet of the Apes.
Maybe both. Maybe that Glass Castles movie that I'll never
so
see.
you're telling me Oscar Isaac is a big deal because other than Star Wars, I had only ever seen him in Sucker Punch. Which
Ex Machina?
Is not good. Oh, nope. Doesn't ring a bell.
No?
Just kidding. I've heard of it. I just haven't seen it.
He's also in some other stuff, but I don't remember right now. But
I mean, he's a good actor. I will say that from what I've seen him in.
He's in that podcast, that Homecoming podcast that I listened to.
Cool.
It's a good one. So this movie was, the Coen brothers originally wrote this movie in 1986.
Yeah, that's so weird and interesting.
And then in 2005, it was reported that George Clooney would star and direct in this movie. And then nothing else was said about it until 2015. And then in 2016, all of these people were, released for the casting and stuff. And so George Clooney decided not to star in it. And
he's not in it at all. Right?
Nice.
Nice.
Well, he's not on the cast list. He might be appearing somewhere.
So
at some point.
That's kind of cool, though. Take a back seat.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think that's pretty neat.
However, I do love it when he's with Matt Damon. George Clooney and Matt Damon have good chemistry.
They do. But I think
and Brad Pitt.
I think that I'm getting to the point where George Clooney is just George Clooney when I see him. Not that he's just playing himself, which he is, but that I cannot differentiate a character from George Clooney.
Sure.
Like, I can't make that distinction in my mind.
I don't know. He's pretty good. It's just been a while, I think.
No, he's definitely good.
It's been a while since he's been in anything great, though. Unfortunately. So yeah, this looks really good to me. I saw the trailer like a month ago, and I had no idea what I was clicking on when I saw it, and it was not what I expected. Oh, and it's, they have this thing has been done before. The whole suburbia. I mean, obviously we talked about Santa Clarita Diet. Also, what's the one with the other one that's like this, the old one?
What?
The Burbs.
The Burbs?
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
With I want to say Bill Murray, but not Bill Murray.
Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I remember it.
The Burbs. Dang it, who's in that? It's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway, Tom Hanks maybe?
I don't know. I have
that
no
sounds
idea.
right. Tom Hanks and the Burbs. It's basically an entire movie about these neighbors that are bored and they start spying on a creepy neighbor and think that he's a murderer. And so the whole idea of murder in suburbia is a big thing.
Yeah.
That's been done again and again. I mean,
because it's interesting.
You've got the one with Shia LaBeouf,
which is a remake of one with Jimmy Stewart, I think.
Well, I think it was supposed to be Rear
Disturbia.
Window.
Rear Window, yeah.
Yeah, and Rear Window was with Christopher Reeve.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, but anyway, okay, so it's been done before, but this definitely looks like a different take on it. It's a lot more focusing on the actual person doing the murdering, whereas a lot of those other ones are people thinking they're seeing murderers or like going after them.
Well, and also this one's going to be funny.
Yeah, but it will be Coen Brothers funny, which people got to understand because
I'm a big fan of that.
it is funny. It's funny, but I think that I know some people who said they couldn't get into Fargo, and I'm like, you've got to understand that it's the driest humor ever. It's a woman who's super pregnant as you could be before you have the baby, and she has to go investigate a murder. It's her job, and she's just like this cheery Minnesota woman, so she has a Minnesota accent, and she's just going around like, oh, hi there, how's it going, can I ask you a few questions about this murder? And it's hilarious because she's just seen this gruesome scene and she's investigating this gruesome thing, but she's just her personality is chipper and fun, and that's hilarious.
That's
it doesn't
the
fit.
thing about them specifically is that they don't have jokes. Like their humor,
no
their humor is not jokes. It's just
the situation.
funny
It's situational.
conversations also. Like, so it's just like you're talking and people are being funny, but they go the pace of conversation. They don't do like set up, knock down jokes.
Yeah.
Like most comedies do.
Yeah. And a lot of it is situational comedy.
Yeah.
As well.
Wow. Sorry.
Like the Soggy Bottom Boys and such.
The Soggy Bottom Boys.
Yeah. It's like, what is happening? Why are these guys that just escaped jail singing a song for the radio? It's situational. It's just funny because it's out of place and unexpected.
All right. Well, let's move on to where, when, and how you're going to see this movie.
Okay.
Where? When? How?
Are you going to see this movie? All right, where, when, and how you're going to see this movie. I am going to, I don't know, because it comes out in October, and there's a lot of good movies coming out in October. There's like 2 or 3.
I thought just the Jackie Chan one was the good one.
Well, I think that also that Tom Cruise one is coming out in October.
Which is?
Or I might be wrong. That American-made one?
Well, we know that The Foreigner with Jackie Chan is coming out in October.
Yeah, so at the very least, The Foreigner is coming out. And that one's going to be awesome.
Yes.
But this one...
Listen to our episode on it if you haven't.
This one looks... I feel like I'm as excited about this one as I was about Hail Caesar when I saw the trailers.
I feel you.
And I didn't really want to see that one in theaters either.
Because you thought, like, it looks funny, but it's hard not to be a little nervous about these guys' movies.
Right. Coen Brothers, yeah.
Because, like, I definitely am glad that we saw Hail Caesar. There was enough funny parts that I'm glad I saw it. Same thing with Burn After Reading. But I could not sit down and watch Burn After Reading again. You couldn't make me do it.
Yeah, like, I feel
like
like
I had a good enough time. I don't want to see it again.
I've never seen Old Country for Old Men. It's
Old Country for Old Men?
Old Country for Young Men. And it's like widely considered their best movie, like by a lot.
It's totally different.
I don't think I could sit through it.
It's nothing like their other movies.
No.
It was one of the longest movie theater experiences I've ever had, and I don't know if it's really that long of a movie. It's just so slow. And I if you guys can't tell, I like to talk, and I like dialogue because of that. I'm a writer and I love dialogue. And this movie was just silence while driving, silence while waiting in a room, hearing the phone ring, worrying about who it is, just like, oh my God, I can't get into it. But I can also say it was a good movie. I can say how beautiful it was, how well made it was. It just wasn't for me.
So I think that I'm going to wait to rent this movie, but I also think that I'm going to really be, waiting to rent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like actively waiting.
Like I can't wait till that comes out. Like
to rent the movie.
Like how we are right now with Wind River.
Yeah, because no one's showing it anywhere.
I would be watching it right now if I could. I'd be skipping this podcast. But yeah, so I kind of agree with you because Coen Brothers movies, I don't really feel like getting out to the theater for them because when I go to the theater, I want to be excited. Like I want to feel excited about the theater. I'm the type of person who's like, yay, we're going to a movie. Yeah. I want to be like sitting in the theater, excited, ready. And then I don't like going through that process of getting hyped up and then leaving the theater like, well, that was kind of sucky. And I mean, that's how I felt. Like the last time I can remember feeling that way was when we saw Swiss Army Man. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is going to be so weird and strange and fun.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I was just like, what the F did I see there? Why? That was bad. So
that's actually a direct quote from when you left the movie theater.
I was so upset at how bad the ending was.
What the F did I see there? Why?
I almost bought into it during it, and then the ending was so bad. So if an ending of a movie ruins it for me, that's hard.
Which is very possible in a Coen Brothers movie.
But when I rent it, I'm kind of like, well, that was kind of anticlimactic. And then I talk about the movie and the parts I liked, and I have fun, and that's fine. So I think
I have a feeling
for me, that's kind of what I want also.
I have a feeling that also not a lot of people will see this, so you could probably rent it with a good amount of people.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we did with Hail Caesar. We had about, 6 people in a room. And,
Random strangers.
And then if it's boring, someone can play on their phone, whatever. Pick and choose. Pick and choose what you want to do. Someone might fall asleep.
Yeah.
That happens.
It does.
It does. But let's say we'll rent it as soon as it comes out.
All right, well, let's move on to our Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
All right. Rotten Tomatoes. It is kind of tricky with Coen Brothers. I think that they have a lot of critically acclaimed movies.
So and also George Clooney is respected as well.
Yeah, and I mean, they have very respected actors. Julianne Moore, she's pretty critically acclaimed. Matt Damon, Oscar Isaac. There's some great people in it.
His name is Oscar.
Yeah. What's that?
You win Oscars.
All right, let me go ahead and go through this, though, what I'm going to say for Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to guess, and I'm going to guess 84. I was trying to decide above or below 85.
Okay.
I'm going 84. From critics, I think that they will like it a lot, but that they will have some issues with some of the things we talked about. Like, there's always a moment where you're like, why'd they do that? That's weird. There's always a moment where you're like, well, that wasn't necessary, or, so I could see that. But I think that they'll like it overall. They're going to really like the style and the acting. I'm
going to say just regular 80.
That's fair. I think story is what's going to get it lower than, the 90% type movies.
No, but I think that it's going to be because it's going to be better. That it's going to get lower.
What do you mean?
So, I think that it's going to follow a more traditional, kind of movie formula, compared to a lot of other Coen Brothers movies.
And so critics will be disappointed?
But I'll be like, yay.
So what will the audience give it, in your opinion?
So I think that the audience will give it... It's weird. It's hard. Because, I think I'm going to go with an 87%.
I'm going to go with 76.
Okay.
So
you're going to go more traditional Coen Brothers ratings.
Yeah, people are going to like it, but they're going to be weirded out by some of it.
I'm thinking that this is where they kind of return back to Big Lebowski form.
Sure.
Where it's kind of more like a normal movie. But
Big Lebowski, I don't think had all the people behind it when it first came out. I think it was more of a cult classic.
No, yeah.
People told each other about it.
Yeah, no, it didn't do very well, I don't believe.
So
it'll
now that they have a lot more name recognition, people will go see it.
There's super famous people that are going to be in it, and directed by George Clooney, and so people will go out just for that. And I think that it'll be more of a just kind of straight mystery crime comedy. Yeah,
I'm excited for it. I do think that it's going to be good, and I am excited to see it when it does come out for rent. I wish I could remember what I feel like the other day, and maybe it's just sometimes in your mind you remember things differently, but the other day I feel like I had a genius comparison for this movie.
Style or
an
look?
Actual movie, a specific movie that it reminded me of. I was like, it was going to be like this movie, but different, and now I can't remember it. But I've had a lot of good comparisons, I think. I can't believe you haven't seen The Burbs.
It has that similar style.
Or Burbs.
It's kind of like a fake amusement park 50s world.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I do too.
What is another movie that does that? That's what I'm saying. Maybe
that one where everything's black and white and it turns to color. Pleasantville.
Oh yeah, maybe that's. I don't know. There's something like that where I was like, it's kind of like Pleasantville but with a bunch of murder. I don't know, but it does look good. It looks.
Does Back to the Future do that?
No.
They go back to the
past.
Yeah, they go back to the past.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do that. Yeah, you got the little kids riding bikes and the mailman being like, "Oh, hey there, kids, have fun."
The
Be
guy
safe."
in the in the diner and stuff.
Who's in the diner? Oh, you mean in Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy's great. Why are we talking about him?
Yes, it reminded me.
Chocolate milk. Or no, milk. Chocolate.
Yeah.
You know, you are my density. Don't get me started.
Oh boy.
Don't get me started on Back to the Future.
But anyway, this movie, it looks really good. It looks really unusual, but also maybe kind of a return to what I love most about the Coen brothers.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I know we both said like we're not going to see it in theater, but I am really excited.
Yeah.
And if you're the type of person who is willing to take the risk of having a letdown ending, go see it in theater. Like if you really, you know, if you're not into The Foreigner, you're not into Jackie Chan, first of all, what's wrong with you?
First of all,
second
I
of
hate
all,
you.
second of all, whatever, go see this, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good time. And usually I disagree with Charlie. I don't think there's a lot coming out in October.
I think
I
there's
think you're mistaken.
The Foreigner and one other thing, and I can't remember what it is.
But they aren't like the big blockbusters that everyone's waiting for. You got December with some really big blockbusters. I think you got some stuff coming out in September. But October is just kind of hanging out there. And that's usually the month where a bunch of people try and do horror movies, but they throw it together and it's no good.
But that's why I think
it's a good time to go to the theater.
That's why I feel like I remember it, is because October is usually just horror movies. And I was just like, oh, wow, they actually have some stuff going on.
But they might have some stuff going on, but will it be great? Will it be movie
Well, I
theater
didn't say
worthy?
it would be great.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying. If you're into it, go see it in theater. I think regardless, it'll be a fun enough time. It'll definitely be worth your $3 or whatever you rent it with if you rent it on Vudu or Redbox or whatever. So I'm going to do a few plugs if you're ready for that.
Go for it.
So for those of you who are new, thank you for joining us. Please tell your friends, subscribe on iTunes so you can get all of our episodes, and check out mttpodcast.com where you can get our blogs, movie news. Charlie always posts up a blog about what's coming out for the weekend, so you can always see what's coming out, and he gives his recommendations.
Yep.
So you get personal recommendations from Charlie on what you should see this weekend every week.
I forgot to do it last week because I was sick.
I just told everyone every week.
But from now on.
But yeah, so that's
starting now.
That's great. We'll post stuff about new trailers. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
And then you can connect with us on Facebook at Movie Trailer Trash Podcast. You can connect with us on Twitter at MTT Podcast. So do that. Like us so you can keep up. You can see all of our behind-the-scenes photos, all of our fun little diddlies.
What did you say?
Fun little diddlies.
No, that sounds
fun little
explicit.
Posts. There
you go. Fun little post.
Fun little post. Check us out.
As always, go and follow Entertainment Buffet at Entertainment Buffet, and subscribe to their YouTube channel, Entertainment Buffet. And also, they still have their play going on this week.
So this weekend, the 18th, 19th, and 20th of August, we'll say.
Oh, okay.
So if you're in the Chicago area, check it out. It's called...
How Does That Make You Feel?
Yes. That's what it's called. How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
And Charlie designed the poster for it. He's a pretty great designer. For those of you who didn't know that, he is a man of many trades. So check that out. And of course, you can also find us on patreon.com and support us. Get some special content.
The new Blade Runner comes out in October. And Thor comes out November 3rd. So
that's not October.
But that's right there. So like if you are really into Blade Runner, then you would want to be seeing Blade Runner, The Foreigner, this movie, and Thor.
Right back to back. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, basically
you're right. And if you're going to
week.
have to get rid of one, I would probably get rid of this one and wait for DVD.
Uh-huh.
But also, personally, I've changed my mind a little bit about Blade Runner. Every time I see the trailer, every time I see the trailer, I want to watch it a little less. I'm like, that kind of looks boring. And the original was kind of boring. Sorry for those of you who are huge fans.
Oh, no!
And what's his face? Jared Leto is really creeping me out. I know he's supposed to, but I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, they the first time I saw that trailer with the guy seeping out of the bag.
Yeah, it's creepy.
It's creepy,
like
and it's good that it's creepy. It's like supposed to be weird and gross, but then it's a bad idea to keep it in there because every time I see it, I'm just like, oh god. Why?
Yeah, and then it shows. But the worst part is showing Jared Leto stroking the guy's face. He's like, "Shh, it's okay, happy birthday," or something like that. It's so creepy.
Well, on that note, we'll see you guys later.
See you next time.